back in the early 16th century, Britain and France were the two largest major colonial powers. They believed in a principle called mercantilism. Mercantilism basically means that a country must have a positive force of trade to maintain military security. If you look all across the globe, for instance, from the British Empire, you look at Jamaica, you take a look at India, you take a look at Australia, all of those areas were colonized based upon that principle that textiles, tobacco, sugar, all of these goods could be used for trade. And that money not only could help expand the military, but it could go back into the treasury of the British Empire. France did the same thing. That's why both countries set up colonies on the eastern part of the North American continent. France set up a series of trading posts along the St. Lawrence River, which flowed from the Great Lakes to the interior of North America, out to the Atlantic Ocean, to what would later become Canada. The English set their colonies further to the south along the immediate Atlantic coast. Jamestown was the first permanent colony in North America. It was named after King James I. Now, interesting enough, the belief initially was that the North American plantations would replace Scandinavia as a source for tar and timber for shipbuilding. They also believed, the British, that North America would provide them with wine, fruit, and salt, which previously came from France and Spain, and silks that previously came from Persia and Italy. The investors believed so much in this that they invested £200,000 in 13 years. Unfortunately, the extremely hot summers and cold winters disheartened settlers. But tobacco rescued Virginia. At the time, tobacco was still a luxury for the wealthy. Mass imports from the Virginia plantations changed this. And as a result, the previous price of £2 was lowered to 5 cents a pound. Smoking then became a universal habit shared by all classes in Europe. By 1700, Britain imported 13 million pounds of Virginia tobacco for domestic consumption and a further 25 million for re-export to Europe, figures that rose steadily throughout the next century. In terms of government revenue, tobacco raised $421,000 between 1699 to 1701, which was 20% of all custom duties. Virginia and Maryland had a population of 92,000 and were major markets for manufactured goods. The wealth which flowed from Virginia contributed to Britain's great power, which grew accordingly. Seeing the positive results, both economically and politically, Britain used the same formula for future imperialist adventures. The pursuit of profit remained the most powerful driving force behind Britain's bid for North America. Also originally in Jamestown, the London Company supplied the settlement with all of their necessities because they wanted them to find gold, which would give England a positive trade balance. But like I stated, what gave them the positive trade balance was tobacco. And so this success also led to the expansion of new colonies: Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and other southern colonies. The second set of colonies developed 600 miles from Virginia in an area that would be known as Plymouth. While the southern colonies were set up primarily as business colonies, whose purpose it was to make money for its investors back in England. Plymouth was originally established by the Puritans, who were seeking religious freedom. In 1630, another group of Puritans arrived and settled in a place that is now Boston. They established the Massachusetts Bay Colony. Eventually, New Jersey, Rhode Island, and Connecticut were formed by those seeking religious freedom as well. Middle colonies of New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware were colonized as proprietary colonies, which meant that the people there were given land by the monarch to be run as their own, as plantations. Over time, each colony developed their own political traditions. In Virginia, it was run by the House of Burgesses. In Plymouth, you had the Mayflower Compact, which was written in 1620 before they got off the boat. That's how North America came to be grown as a continent. Think about this, though. Without tobacco, America might not be the same as it is today. You and me might not be here. The revolution probably wouldn't have happened because the British would have had no interest in the colony if they weren't making a profit.